Hello, myself Sunil R Nair, and we are talking about the um, next generation will happen or next generation will not happen, and this basically comes into the attraction topic. So here, basically, just now we talked about the some earthquakes. Basically, few people says that basically an earthquake basically says that. For example, the 35 country basically which earthquake basically one example is I have taken in that basically 150 country was there and 35 country basically the earthquake basically happened. So world the why the 35 country only basically earthquake happened? That actually one person basically asked the question. Then basically the answer was that was basically due to some bank investment basically. So the banks basically who has done the investment in that particular city, there actually something wrong happened. Due to that basically the bank basically sorry the city basically got suffered and the Vadodara city got suffered. Then here basically thing basically was if bank is responsible, then basically by default World Bank also is responsible. Then he told that yes, exactly World Bank is also responsible. Then they told that basically the World Bank basically then the banks basically who basically told that we have created the city, they directly told that basically we have sold your product basically, and according to that the creation basically happened. And the products basically who designed that was basically you, so you only basically created the cities basically, right? According to the products selling basically. According to the product selling basically, which you have created. For example, one mutual fund product basically they have created and they told that this much investment basically we want. And that is this all are the city basically where the investment is going to happen. And that product they basically created specially for the vegetable creation. That is basically the tomato and the onion creation. So that is basically the product, right? That basically you have designed, we have not designed, right? We basically just sells the product to the customer. We basically sells the product to the customer only, na, that much only we are doing. Then they told that basically you should know, right? You should know that basically the city which is the product basically which you are selling, that is for onion and uh, tomato basically, for the creation of onion and tomato. So you should know basically which blood group basically will able to generate the perfect tomato and onion basically. And according to that basically you have not solved. So for that basically you should supposed to consult with the energy department. We have given the numbers also basically to you, and we have given the numbers of the doctors also to you. You are supposed to consult with this group, and then basically you are supposed to get the data basically from this group basically. But you have taken the data from wrong group basically. Then the person basically told that that basically was concern of the software company basically, they were supposed to do that. Then basically the software company told that basically we don't know that basically this product, the bank basically wants the data for onion and potato creation, sorry, onion and tomato creation basically, from the human body basically. How basically we should know basically that this, we don't know basically what actually product is also. We just know that they basically asked the data. That's all basically we are sending the data. We don't know basically what, for what purpose basically the data basically is asked, for what purpose basically the data is asked. Then they basically told that basically whose problem actually is. So who should take the responsibility of this? He basically, the World Bank basically directly told that. Then basically the one of the economists basically and the suggestion group basically, they told that basically here the suggestion groups are also there. Suggestion group basically told that basically whom should basically we should give the responsibility, that this data basically which you are sending basically, that is for tomato creation and onion creation. That's very critical data, right? So we can't share this data basically. Then software company told that basically if you can't share the data basically, then how basically we can get you the data as per basically your requirement basically. Then the banks basically tells that basically you just give, do one thing, you just send you just give one system basically. In that system basically just upload a few data basically, whatever data we want basically we will take that data. So according to that, basically the blood group basically which is perfect, they basically concerned with few doctors and few energy department. and then basically they selected the particular data that this particular group is this particular person basically we can sell our product to this person, that person, this person, that person. So the data basically which is getting sold basically, and the mutual fund basically data basically which is basically equal to product basically for the banks, they basically also should know basically that we should basically supposed to sell this product to these people only, because the earthquake basically happened, 35 earthquake basically happened. The reason was this basically, they have sold the product to wrong people basically, because they were actually not eligible for the potato sorry, the onion and tomato energy basically. They can't generate, their body basically can't generate it. Then basically how they can generate it? Because the blood group basically which was the condition basically to generate the onion and the tomato, that is this condition, and that condition basically this blood group does not contain. So for that basically you should concern the this particular blood group people basically, this particular blood group people basically. So nowadays basically banks basically what they do, they directly connects with the blood groups department and the hospitals basically. But that's very that's very dangerous basically, because they are also basically connected with the set of software companies. So here the lots of software company basically says that we have created the hospital projects, this projects, medical projects, that product. So like this, basically we have the data basically. We have the data basically. So like that, things are also basically there. But data are so critical basically. You can't say that this particular data is perfect. So for that, basically we need some authorized government sikka basically. You can say that this data is perfect. Whatever data basically which is given to the bank, that is perfect data. For that, basically you have to create the some IOC level company and limited company basically who's basically say that the data basically which you are given, that is 100% perfect. So it's a limited company, so government has basically already authorized it. So if government has authorized that data, then basically by default you can say that that government basically has authorized it. So if any wrong data basically is going to come, then you can directly blame to the government. The government has approved this limited company basically. That's why we trusted government basically. We trusted basically government. So then basically World Bank told that basically we don't basically trust any of the government, because they say that today is this government, tomorrow is some other government. So you can't trust any of the government basically. So you should basically directly connect with the certain concerned department basically. For that also basically we have given you the numbers basically. You don't need to depend on any of the software companies, any limited company, any IOSA company, any CMM level company. For that, basically, our groups are there. You can connect with that group basically. In World Bank, basically, lots of software groups are there basically. Why don't you connect with these direct people basically and get the perfect data basically? Because the earthquake reason basically was this only 35 earthquake basically, which is just 150 country basically was giving the power supply, and this power supply basically 35 country basically was having the earthquake. The reason was this basically, you are supposed to collect the correct data basically, but you have not collected that correct data. So for that, basically, your bank are responsible. Basically, we have written everything in the product that basically we need this type of energy. Basically, that is basically which should produce tomato. Sorry, which should produce onion and tomato. So you should know, right? That which all are city basically energies. Sorry, which all basically the blood group basically can create tomato and onion energy. According to that only basically you can create the cities, right? Cities are equal to products basically. You are collecting the money for onion creation and potato creation, sorry, tomato creation, and tomato is equal to city creation. So you are going to create one city for the tomato and onion creation basically, tomato and onion production basically, you can say. For that basically you are collecting the energies basically. You are collecting the energy which basically can generate the tomato and onion data. So literally basically World Bank basically told that basically you are responsible bank, we are not responsible. So like, literally basically they told that basically you are responsible. So by default, basically the earthquake, basically 35 earthquake, which basically came, that basically the bill basically was thrown in front of the banks basically. So they basically was responsible for the earthquake. So whatever things basically happened for the earthquake, basically they basically need to suffer. They basically need to pay the money basically because the responsible person basically was actually the data basically. But the data company basically so that's why basically the software company says that we keep each and every data basically. And few company like Infosys basically they say that we take the printout also and keep the printout also, that this is the requirement which is given by this bank, this client basically. Literally they basically keep up to this level basically, because the requirement which is given basically they are so critical, that this basically 35 earthquake basically came. So in 35 earthquake basically how many loss basically might have, more than basically at least assume that 1 lakh crore 2 lakh crore basically. So 1 lakh 2 lakh crore is a normal amount. So the banks basically, World Bank basically directly told that you are responsible, so you have to recover that 1 lakh 2 lakh rupees. So that basically came into 1 lakh 2 lakh basically came into in head of the banks basically. And software company basically told that basically you have not told us basically the data basically which you want, that is for onion and tomato creation. And we don't know that basically which type of product basically how basically human body basically we generate tomato and onion basically, how that is possible basically. We never heard about, the software company never heard about this whole thing basically. We never got the training of this whole thing basically. Then how basically we are going to know? Literally they told that only basically. And like this basically the software company also got escape. Like this software company also told that basically we don't know anything. We also basically, so like this basically they also got escape. They literally told her basically we don't know that the software basically which is getting create, you are going to create the each and every energy basically. We don't know that our software are basically generating tomato and product onion also basically. We just basically just now basically when you told that due to our data basically the earthquake basically has happened that time basically, and you given the reason that you have given the wrong data, that basically actually the data was supposed to given by given was supposed to give as this whole blood group basically. This the reason this whole blood groups data only can produce the tomato and onion energy, that is chemical basically. That how basically we can how the software company can know, that is your basically the thing basically which that you are supposed to know this. So for that basically World Bank told that basically we have already told you that these all are the software company which you are supposed to concern with, and you have to take the data. So here the software company basically nowadays directly connecting with the banks, directly connecting with the world banks, and telling that we have this product, we have that product, we have this, we are up to that level, we are up to this level. Like this basically we can keep your data up to secure level, and we can say that basically this blood group basically this data basically can generate onion, this data can generate potato, this data can generate vegetable, this data can generate fruits, this data can generate apple, this data can generate orange, this data can generate grapes, this data can generate chiku, this data can generate pineapple, this data can generate papaya. So like this data basically we can keep this if you give the permission basically, because we need to concern with the nuclear power department, power companies, many companies basically the data basically which they give to the particular blood group basically, because sometimes they give potato creation energy to B blood group, sometimes they change the data of potato energy to the C blood group basically. So we can't basically fix that the C blood group is 100% going to generate potato only. So like this, basically, nuclear companies, the software companies are telling that they are changing each and every time basically the data. So for that, basically, we need the approval also basically from the nuclear companies that they every time basically they send the data. Every time basically they sends the data. Every time basically they should send the data. to the software company that for this blood group basically we have changed this setting, and this for this blood group basically this human needs is going to create. So like this basically each and every mapping basically which is going to happen, that basically has changed by the nuclear power company and by the energy company and the power company. Basically they have changed the data. So for that changed data basically we software company is required, then only basically we can give that. For that basically we require permission from World Bank. Like this basically they told that we can do this, you can do that, then basically World Bank told that basically yeah basically you can basically get the data from this whole nuclear power company. We are basically sending the approval mail that you just give these all are the concern software companies basically who basically you can give the data. And World Bank basically told that basically you are registered in our dictionary as a data supplier. So we will give the your email address and the mobile number and the landline number to the banks basically, and we will tell the banks that basically these all are the concern group basically from where basically you can get the correct data for the product, which basically you are creating. That is basically the banks basically which creates the. Nowadays banks basically managers are so up to that level that basically each and everything basically they do. They say that basically this person basically, so from as if that they contacted 100%, so 90% basically, and 90 people basically 100% they are going to take this product, right? Because their blood group basically matches the thing, and the data is basically given by the concerned software company basically. So you can just imagine the things basically the software companies has reached, like the things basically the banks has reached, the chain basically the World Bank basically generated, the chain basically the banks generated, the chain basically which the software company generated. But the main thing is basically that 9 lakh child birth is going to happen, and 11 lakh is going to happen in Ahmedabad. So for that basically we are basically doing this all this thing basically, because they told that basically this is the future data basically, and this is the universe area basically from where basically you are going to get the power supply, and power supply are basically going to generate for next generation which is 100% going to happen, and which is going to generate lots of stories, and these stories basically are created by the government. That is basically government means basically one person told that who is government basically, they are just normal people, right? Yeah, basically they are normal people only. So who approved this? Who basically approved the world government? Basically, that is also basically one question. Basically, one person literally asked that who actually approved this word? Basically, that is the government. That is basically the European people. Basically, they have created the parliament house. They have created the government. They have created the prime minister post. They have created the president post. Basically, we have not created. So they are basically create. They are basically into the city creation, story creation, this all creation. Then basically one of the person basically told that sorry, basically we have created, but we have passed this everything to Bollywood groups. So you can ask the what story basically is of this area. They will basically going to tell you. So like this, they also passed the thing to Bollywood group. Then Bollywood group says that basically we are just writing the story basically. Rest of things, this nuclear power company and energy companies are basically doing. We are just writing the thing basically. Nothing else basically we are doing. Like this basically nobody basically can track the basically the where actually from where the things are basically happening. And that sun solar system basically example I have already given. The basically it's very difficult to track only basically. Basically the thing basically the power supply is basically supplying the data from the base of the energy companies basically, and suddenly the sun solar system basically do the hijacks. Sun solar system basically do the hijack. Sun solar system basically they do the hijack basically. If they are doing the hijack, basically that means you can understand basically up to what level the authority they have. Without authority, basically how you can enter the house for 5 minutes and do the activity what you want to do. Without the consent of the authorized person, basically you can't do anything. So for that, basically one thing is directly hijack it, or another thing is blackmail it and enter into house and do your task and for 5 minutes and just leave. Sometimes basically they say that basically they can this one solar system basically can hijack your body parts hijack is possible. Then basically they told that yes, basically 100% it is possible. Basically, if they have entered your house, then that means basically they have already got your each and every body parts data also. Basically, oh, like this basically they say that basically like this basically things has happened. Then that person basically got think basically that something basically things has become critical, so I should tell the truth basically that this basically requirement given the sun solar system basically the currently the Vadodara city that is using that is 3 lakh sun solar system basically in each and every house. That data basically was given by one of the NASA and ISRO group basically. They have told that basically my dear friend basically you are basically having the one software company, so we are giving you big software basically, you will remember us. That also basically they told like this basically they told that basically you basically just need to take this all data on this days, and this day basically take this data in that day basically take that type of data. So like entire requirement basically they given, and like this basically the things basically has created, and then basically the sun solar chip was basically created, sun solar system chip was basically created. And that person basically told that basically then this he basically asked the NASA groups basically that basically how I can go to each and every house basically. Then basically they told that do one thing, create one chip basically and update that chip from your computer. Okay, that would be fine. So for that, basically, I require the authorization also, right? That I can enter into the environment. For that, basically, you can do one thing. You can contact with the mobile so providers. Basically, they have the full authority. They can do anything basically. Connect with the mobile company basically, or do one thing. Connect with the Android company basically. They have full authority basically in the environment basically, because they are telling that we are paying money to the government basically. So if anybody asks that basically why you have done this, why you have done that, then basically we can literally tell that basically we are paying money to the government basically. We are paying money to the government. We are paying money to the government. So like this basically he told that basically okay. I will do one thing. I will take this mobile provider's help, and this all basically internet providers helps, and then basically I will enter into the each and every chip of that particular house, that basically the solar system, and I will update the thing. That would be okay. Then NASA and ISRO would tell us, yeah, then basically that would be okay. You do that way only basically. For that basically you should need the roadmap also basically, so that basically from where which roadmap basically you have to move the your data. Yeah, that basically I don't have basically of the environment. Basically, it's very difficult. Na? For that, basically, you can use the help of the mobile people. Basically, they have basically each and every roadmap. Basically, of each and every areas. Basically, you take help of that people. Basically, then they basically told that basically they sometimes don't give the correct data. Basically, then do one thing. Take the internet provider data. Basically. They are internationally connected. They will never give you the wrong data. Then basically he told, yeah, basically then it's correct. So he connected with the internet data also. Like this, basically he told that basically I got the data. Sorry, the got the roadmap basically from where basically I can enter the data and dump my data to the chip. That is basically the sun solar system. So like this basically the concern is again that the NASA group, basically ISRO group, basically given the requirement that this type of data basically you can take from the environment. For that sun solar system basically you have to create one system basically, that is basically the sun solar system, and that is going to basically going to take some data from the environment, from the environment. So which are basically data the NASA and ISRO group might have told that take this data, take that data, don't take that data, take this data, take those data, take this area data, take that area data. Who basically might have given this requirement basically? And what was the basically concern behind this requirement? That basically we are going to see in next video. So this topic basically is going there. This person generation can go next, or this person generation will not go next.